Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Maria Jose Pacha. I'm the Learning and Knowledge Sharing Manager of the Forest and Climate Initiative. Welcome all to this learning session. This is the first of the session. And this is the first time that we're using WebEx as the technology for the bear with us. All of this learning session is community landscape management planning in the context of REDD and Zero Net Deforestation. And we have three speakers: Alexander Belokurov, the WWF International, give us a little bit of his background. And then we have Flory Botamba, who is the project manager from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And also we have Liza Higgins-Zogib from the Diverse Earth Consultants. To start with the presentation, I want to ask you, please, you come in, you mute yourself until we start with the presentation. So, if Sasha, can you pass to slide 2? So, a few requests for you. For making this webinar a success, I would ask you please to use and watch your chat window at the right of the screen. If this can connect with the host, looking for a question or for troubleshooting. You can mute your microphone, please, add your name, or you can right-click and mute yourself for background noise reduction, and we'll ask you to do that through a webinar presentation. As Sasha, Alexander finishes his presentation, there will be a session for questions and answers. And you see at the screen there is a little hand that if you want to ask a question, there, and we will know that you want to you have a question, and we will give you the sound. For connecting here, you can use audio or dial a folder that was in your email with the instructions. And if you have a problem, there's a lot of noise there.
Sorry, it's us.
So if you have problems connecting with audio or email, send a chat message to Lenny Guzman. Then see in the chat window, you can choose to whom send or to me. I will as well. The session will be completely recorded, and you will have access to the audio and the presentation in the Forest and Climate book, and I will send you the link when we finish. So I will ask now Alexander to start with the learning session.
Yes, Maria, and hello everybody. Thanks for joining this session. As Maria explained, we will try to entertain you with 3 presenters today, and we have all different backgrounds and a lot of experience in the field of landscape conservation, community planning work, and implementation of REDD projects in and finally, Flory has just joined us, so it's a great news. So to have this session was to really not just to teach you about something, but to share our experience with community management planning, which we had in DRC, and to share what kind of work it takes, what kind of experiences we had, and some of the lessons we've learned from our experience in DRC recently. So, as I said, we will go over the presentation and then have time for questions. I don't know, I was just advised by Liza, who is sitting next to me, but we should probably introduce ourselves. Maria, do you think it's required? quick round and also to see.
Yes, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your background.
Okay, thanks, Maria. So my name is Alexander, and short name is Sasha. So don't be confused. Last name is Belokurov. I've been working for 10 years at WWF International. I am part of the Global Forest Program, and my experience is with landscape conservation, protected areas, and recently climate change. And Liza is with me today, and Liza, please introduce yourself.
Howdy, I don't think I know many of you, so I'll be pleased to meet you today. I also used to work for WWF for over 10 years, but left a couple of years ago to set up a small organization called Diverse Earth, and I still do a lot of consultancy back to WWF and to other organizations, specifically on the interface between, nature and development.
Thank you, Zan. Thank you, Flory. Flory, can you hear us? And can you talk? I told you equipment next to his name. Maybe there is some.
It looks like he has audio connected, so.
Okay, hopefully we will figure out how to speak in the test. But Flory is implementing an ARPAN project in RC, and his work is focused on Mai Ndombe landscape. And he is our main expert in this area, and we were working together to test our approach with community planning in RC. Flory will be able to figure out how to adjust his audio equipment. Okay, I'm not sleeping now, and hopefully are as well. This is kind of a quick overview of what we are going to talk about, and we will start with explaining our thinking why we decided to work with the communities in the context of zero net deforestation and degradation, ZNDD. And Liza will introduce us to approaches and tools we analyzed and developed in order to help us to go through the process with the communities. And hopefully Flory will share our experiences in DRC. Yeah, thank you for joining us in audio.
Hey. I can hear you.
Yeah, they introduced you. Okay, and I'm going through the overview of our presentation today. And we will finish with listing lessons we've learned and list some points for future discussion on ensuring how our ZDD goal is compatible with community expectations. So this is a quick overview of our session today. So I need to too much about zero net deforestation. Hopefully you all know it means no net forest loss through deforestation and no loss of forest quality through degradation. And should should not go through the slides so quickly because it takes some time to go them for internet. So what does zero net deforestation goal mean in practice? So it's a commitment that WWF introduced and advocated for the government to take on. It what most natural forests will be retained, and loss of natural or semi-natural forest is close to zero. And at the same time, if losing some of the forest, the ecological functions of this area should be restored. We just recently produced a zero net deforestation advisory note, and you can see on the slide there is a link where you can find this recent policy. And I should say, zero net deforestation goal. It's not protein use of forest or trees, but it also some different, and but without losing the years of natural forest. And I believe I've heard the news from a recent conference in Rio that many governments are supporting this goal, and it was adopted by one of the main provinces in Brazil recently. There's a lot of support for the goal internationally. So we're talking about this goal, we should think about scale issues, and originally this goal was proposed at a global level. So globally it has zero net deforestation being achieved by 2020. It should also be translated at the national scale as local or landscape scale. But we're talking about pilot landscapes within the RPAN program to test our approaches and hopefully to achieve zero net deforestation and degradation by 2020. Kind of approach where this goal is translated from global level and to local level allows us to be at various scales what we want to do and also avoid leakage effect. It also helps people work at these different scales to set actions and priorities how to achieve this goal. So what is kind of general approach? What is our recommendation how to proceed with this goal and make it a reality? Well, we want to achieve ZND by 2020. So we have a vision. So if we either, as I said, at level or landscape level. And to get to this vision, we need to analyze the current situation and see what are the threats. One, deforestation rates. This task of cutting these rates urgent. And this deforestation is happening right now. What are the deforestation fronts and what are the drivers of deforestation? Hopefully this will help us to identify areas for prioritizing our actions. And where is it happening, how quickly it's happening. We should deploy various tools, and we are ranging from policy tools, finance tools, landscape tools, landscape function tools, which I will be talking in the slide, monitoring and evaluation work. This work should be complemented with clear monitoring targets and very milestones. So this is a pretty generic approach, and it applies, as I said, to all levels, and we follow this community work. So as I mentioned, here a list of various landscape level tools which WWF is helping achieve or are also advocating. And these tools are ranging from REDD, environmental services, protected area work. A lot of these targets could be with establishing new protected areas, either additional governmental protected areas or company co-managed areas, community conserved areas. But we should be talking not only about establishing or expanding our protected area network, but also improving management of existing protected areas. And here are a few tools listed which we could help you with assessing effectiveness of your parks. So going beyond protected areas, there are tools which help you to work with the broader landscape, and these are high conservation data assessments, a new tool which Anders is working on called conservation value mapping, for ensuring sustainable land use mosaic, corridors, restoration projects. As traditional tools where we have strong experience, certification, community, forestry management, legal desertification, and others. Some broad experiences we have with degraded lands, and these tools are listed here. And last but not least, the community management tools. And this is what we're focusing today, talking about community management planning, community conservation, or community support. There are others as well. Just a quick list, and I've been assigned to move on. A lot of information about these tools is available at the links you will see later on. So, the community is an important player in landscapes, and we do need to ensure we really work with the communities and hear their aspirations, their plans, their landscapes. So I could call it another conservation initiative, and it's true, but it's definitely a tricky conservation initiative. Basically, here we are facing the dilemma between conservation and development. Through our talk today, we will have some experience to share with you how we explain this dilemma to the communities. What does it practically take to get on board with the community and in the trust and together? And support needs to be provided to the community to move forward. So I'd like to ask Flory to get us to the Payload village in DRC and tell us a little bit more with it and what kind of work you and your team with pairing this work with the Payload community. Try to put.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Well. And I can look the slide for you, right?
Okay. Let's wait for the slide. Okay, there we go. We'll be talking a little bit about the village in the territory of Bolobo in the province. One of the community village that we're working as a pilot. I remember last we went with Sash and Liz that together, and two other teams, the evaluation team and the forest investment program team together to just a little bit talk about the Payload. In this slide, we will see how big is our landscape project in the DRC. Area cover that we are covering is over 30,000 square meters, and finds the largest Ramsar area in the world, that is 1 million hectares. And you see how the forest soil is from 60 to 65% of the swamp forest, and an altitude of 300 and 350 meters, and the rainfall is 1,700 and to 23 millimeters per year. So area, what as a trait, you have the burn agricultural activities, firewood for the ranching activities, and the illegal logging with the people. We have the slash and burn, saying illegal logging activities and the poaching, and also some other activities like people are working and doing like all the deforestation activity that's going on in the area. But as far as the REDD plans and the ARPAN projects are that are connected together. Remember that on the year 2010, we went to Cancun, us, but the government of DRC, the presentation of the Mai Ndombe project was written just 2 months before that. Then we went to here we attend the meeting in the Durban where we presented the Mai Ndombe case during the DRC government sentence, also with the side events with the USAID, and only we are involved now. It's in India with the forest investment program. We hope 10 million will be invested on the Yumbi, Bolo, and the South Kamut area that are pilot area that we're working. And right now we are presenting the emission reduction program with also the national government. I hope that by 4 or 5 years we can start to have some money from the emission reduction program there. And we did also some, we did help the government to produce like a base document that is now the base document from the discussion on the free price consent. So the Bolobo communities, what has been done so far, we're talking about the micro-zoning of some pilot communities. Now we did 15, and just a group we go on Friday to do other communities, like 20 of them. And then we study on drivers of deforestation in that area, agriculture and the firewood at Nka community, the management plan of the community that with Sasha, and on the high conservation value studies that we have made from that. And for other activities we have been doing in that area, we have the capacity building of community representative on data collection, and also some MR work with and NICO. So talking about the high conservation value assessment results in Payload communities done recently, we found out that conservation value, we have some key species, endangered species like the bonobos, biodiversity, and also some areas like climate change. For the food use, is finding that people do the thing to provide for food, and all the cassava agricultural activities with some agroforestry, and then we have fish farming activities and water stream protection for the water value. And so this provides some resources, medicinal resources for the community. As the material for the forest products that are produced for the communities, so that they can sell or that have them like as a food. As the community management value, we have the program on noble habitations, and also helping people from Peru like as trackers that have some incentives, some salary for the provide some jobs, also agricultural activities and wood as economic values. Can have the next page.
Yeah, I present the map should appear right now, Flory.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I pressed the button and you should have the map soon.
Okay.
See them?
Yes.
Okay, it should appear soon. Let's give it a few seconds. Did you get them?
Okay, it's coming. A little bit. Our connection is too slow, so takes a little time, more time than it should be. But
okay, so just a few words about where the landscape is located and about the community.
Okay. Yeah. The landscape is located at the Bandundu province. You have as a border the Congo River. Also, in the southern part, you have the Kwa River, which is one of the rivers that goes to the Congo River on the western part. And then on the top of that, you have at the beginning of the province, the Equator province. That's where in the Tumba landscape, and which includes one big section from the Brazzaville and another section from DRC, which represents two provinces, the Equateur and the Bandundu. And most of our activities are in the Bandundu area, which has, like say, 30,000 square kilometers as area. So that's where that we're working. So we go to the next map. Next slide, please.
I don't think there is no. Flory, there is no more maps.
Okay, that's where we're working now. So okay. I think I hand over to you.
Thank you very much. So as you've seen, the community is an important place in this area, and
map just come in, so it's come up.
Sorry. Okay. There are some ways, so everybody can see the map now. We had a task before us to identify the best ways to work with the communities, to get aspirations, to get the ideas how they would like to see the landscape, and help them to develop a management plan. So I now Liza to tell what kind of approaches we have chosen, what tools we analyzed, and how we've done it. Liza?
Thank you, Sasha and Flory. So basically, we, work with communities within this very big, complex landscape initiative that WWF is engaged with. It takes, a lot of thinking, not just in terms of what better ways to approach the communities, but also in terms of, so what you work with one community, then what, how does it all build up to make a difference at, big landscape scale, which is what WWF wants. So we started out, and I'm sure if you are currently or have been working with local communities in the past, and you know that it's not easy sometimes, but basically we started with a literature review to see whether we could just pick up an approach or a tool which was already available and roll out within the DRC context. We looked at various frameworks and methodologies and guidelines, case studies and lessons learned, and ran from specific country-focused approaches to tools that are much more global nature. And this review is available for everybody to see, and as you look at the bottom of this page. There is, of course, some great community work drawn from all around the world, including within the WWF network. I apologize if you yourselves have come up with tools or are using tools and approaches and it's not within the literature review. This is an exhaustive literature review because there's so much. So there are many tools, both published and unpublished, that the WWF and others are using. I mean, I just listed a few of these here. The landscape outcome an assessment methodology we drew it on, which looks really at measuring changes in the landscape. Well, I also very much like the WWF South Pacific Climate Witness Community Toolkit. If you get a chance to look at that, it's very good and very user-friendly. Also, from outside the organisation, we looked at we looked at countries like Botswana and other things from South Pacific, but also India and elsewhere. So with the approaches, there's nothing that we could just take off the shelf and use for the situation that we're in, but many things to draw from. I mentioned at this point, though, that it's not really so much the tool that you use, but the really reason why you use it, and the approach that you take towards, engaging communities in an appropriate way to get them involved in and to take, control of the places that they've probably been, using, managing for many years before WWF came on the scene. I hope I'm too fast with these slides. So, what we came up with was a general framework drawing from the many methodologies and tools that we looked at toward landscape planning within this complex setting. And it's a very simple 7-step framework where we would define landscape with the communities, obviously, and step 2 we would prepare the workshop with the community. Step 3, which we'll talk a little bit about now, is doing the workshop with the community and getting their aspirations. Step 4, where the community would, representatives of the community that we would work with, would then back to the wider community to verify what had been done, and then finalize the plan within the community. And then, obviously, the next steps would be to communicate this plan. Who needs to know that such a community landscape plan exists, and how do you advocate for further support with this plan? And the fifth step, of course, the continued support to monitor and assess and continue debate and discussion. The framework methodology will also soon be, I think, finalized and available here. The approach that we took was really to listen to the community themselves. It was to come up with a management plan that was developed by the community and for the community, so not for anybody else's purposes. It was really to find out what their aspirations were for the future of the terroir, which is how they tell their community landscape, and it was to be able to then articulate this community perspective. It was not about going to tell them about Zero Net Deforestation and the degradation, which actually, were mentioned those words, but really to find out what it was they wanted from their place. I mean, as always, we didn't know really what to expect of the workshop. We had to be flexible and adaptable, as we always are, as you all know. The question is a very difficult one because when you're working with communities, you know very well that there is a major cost in taking up community time because you're taking them away from doing other things. But at the same time, a full engagement with these communities does take a lot of time. So that there's that difficult balance to find there in terms of timing. Also, the conditions, we couldn't work in the afternoon, for example, because it was too hot. And so basically, all that we spent with them together was 2 evenings, around 24 community representatives representing the women, the men, and the youth of the village. So not long to get out, a real community view of what they wanted to do in their terroir. So basically what we did, on the first day before we went to the village workshop, we met with all of the chefs d'État, so the chiefs of the various landscapes, bigger landscapes that WWF is talking about, and the district chiefs, to brief them on and get their feedback on what we were going to do, etc. And to make initial contact with the, of course, the Flory's team very well, these communities, but for us, the facilitators of this process, to meet with the chef of the village. The second day we went to the community, and what we did was we facilitated their expression of values they see of their landscape. Also, then we looked at threats that they see for the landscape. We did a vision for the landscape. Both the mamas, the ladies, and the men and the youth developed different visions, which we then put together. And then the last morning, we developed and also we adopted together an overall vision for the terroir for the future. We then, in order to get to that vision, let's create some activity that they wanted to do, and we developed some very simple indicators where we could measure changes in the landscape, or where they could measure changes in the landscape over time. And post-workshop, because we had such a short time, we took the information and we drafted a plan for the village terroir. It should be done, and it can be done within the village in the local language to ensure for their ownership and to make sure it's absolutely useful for them. Then hopefully translated into the local language now and presented to the village. I'll let Flory elaborate on that. Basically, what we wanted to see were extension materials after the plan had been made, for the walls, development of indicator baselines, all of which will probably require a little more support over time from the team in Bologo. And then basically to do some communication, to give some support monitoring, and offer a finalized methodology to local NGO partners who were with us and being trained at the time to other terroirs, which I think Flory has mentioned.
Thank you, Lisa, for giving us an overview of our approach. This slide is basically a summary of what we achieved in this kind of pilot project in Payload. And just to summarize, so basically developed an approach using existing methodologies and tools, and this framework methodology will be helpful for others to use. We piloted and tested this approach in Payload village, and improved it based on our experience. Also, Unity itself got the draft management plan, and this would be for all use. We hope we managed to build the capacity of the local WWF team, and also very importantly, we worked with representatives of local NGOs, local partners, who all very fast and been trained on this approach. We managed to build knowledge, capacity, and trust with the community, and it gives them some empowerment to follow up. Important lessons and practical advice. This is what we are doing right now and sharing with you. This is why we get involved from international levels, because we want to know these lessons and share it with others in other countries. Let me go through some of the lessons learned, and Flory, Lisa, please jump in if you want to add something. I think these are just some immediate ideas we managed to get together, and maybe more in-depth lessons coming later on. But these are some initial thoughts we put together. So we started this work with the kind of approach what I think the needs and aspirations of the communities would be the most important step in all process. Also, to design the intervention at landscape level should also require taking into account this nest approach, then local plans would fit into the landscape vision and border plans. What taking community time has its costs, but it is a valuable time and it should be allowed. For the communities we're starting to work with could see benefits of this work. There can be always pilot communities that should benefit from this work at a certain point. And this is also something we would like to share with you. As quite an important work we've done in the first morning with the community is to allow them to express how they want to see their landscapes in the future. And this vision for the landscape is crucial, because everything else will be done based on this vision. And this was in parallel with HC investment. It was not possible for various reasons in this case, but the processes should go together ideally. We're talking about threats with the communities. Sometimes it's difficult for them to make a clear judgment, especially for the threats coming from outside of the area. And then our recommendation would be they need some help, and WWF should clear in this respect. When we think it's important to allow various groups within the communities to express their vision, because it might be different from for men, women, or youth, other minorities within the communities. I've got also a comment from but it's important to balance these visions and allow parties which probably don't have always clear voice to be in this process. But things should be simplified. The conditions and the limited time we have with the communities be simple. We tried to use maps, but it didn't quite work. This map should be really simple and developed jointly with the community. In terms of indicators, we started with introducing various approaches organizations have, but it was very difficult. People didn't understand them. So we got into the really certification in this case, and the indicators communities came up with really simple in terms of number of jobs, number of visits, children go to school, hospitality. So something really simple and very clear for them. That's really this work we started with the community should be finished within the community. If we follow the steps 4, 5, the frameworks, this should be done within the community. Lessons we've learned, but also there are some challenges, and also would like to share it with you. Well, it's always important when you work with the community to ensure the full participation, and as I said, all groups within the communities should be represented. And within, as we said, Payload was a pilot, and it's actually threatened right now. There's a potential threat coming up, but right now it's not a major issue. So if we move to other just there will be more controversial issues we have to deal with. Also lucky because in Payload village there is a bonobo project, and this village is fully engaged in bonobo conservation and building plans for bringing tourists and develop tourism facilities. So in case this is not a potential area, we need to look for some others which we can build our work on with the community. Legal is an important issue, and unfortunately in DRC, in the whole Africa, this is often not the issue which is not clarified. So we need to be careful about this, because obviously it's a foundation of everything. We're very careful not to raise too much expectations about REDD, and you probably know why. Promise clear REDD money right now, so you need to be careful about this. And build or those approach, nested approaches is an important aspect, because the management plan of this community should fit into the landscape plan and the national plans as well. Issues you need to deal when this work will be taking over to other areas. So the question at the beginning can ensure what zero net deforestation and degradation goal is compatible with community aspirations. We do to ensure compatibility. Well, not always guarantee this. And this is also kind of a learn. But we need to be prepared for this, and especially areas where there is more conflict, conflict of interest, conflict of plans, of stakeholders. In this case, you need to think about developing alternatives and be ready to propose various alternatives. Be ready to negotiate trade-offs. That would be done through facilitating dialogue and partnerships with others. To be prepared to facilitate support to find solutions for the communities. And this kind of agenda has some implications for WWF internally. For example, we should be discussing our position, and the community of practitioners within WWF called M4C, Social Development for Conservation, is the to talk to, and I will include the link to this community on where you can find issues related to social issues, etc. Also, unleashing how far we are willing to go in negotiating trade-offs, and what we accept and what is not. And it's an important issue, our internal capacity in terms of negotiating and dealing with social conflict issues. We need to beef it up. So I think we have done with the main presentation. We're a bit over time, and Maria might be ahead of me, but we still have a few minutes for questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha, Lisa, and Flory. That was very interesting. There are several questions, and if you want to ask a question, window under participant, there is a little hand that you can put. You click, we will know who will have questions, and we can do this for doing that. So I have a question. I think that in a way you were very clear about what things were not to raise expectations. What do you think is the bottleneck for this type of projects, working with communities and their resources? Why do you feel that you need to think the approach?
That's the question.
Well, a time when you thought that you had to rethink the approach, and maybe what you thought in mind was not possible to implement on the ground.
Well, you and maybe Lisa then Flory could share views. We, in a sense, what this community, Payload community, was previous work. We were already engaged with them through mapping exercise and an observation project. I think it would be a lot of more challenges then we go to new communities and then they, for example, want to cut all their forests to get immediate benefit. So we do to be ready for this kind of and be prepared to explain clearly what is wise to cut the forest right now, what the benefits of maybe postpone the other benefits community will have, but not immediately, but longer term. So they explain the sustainability idea. And I think it's much more challenging and definitely more forward. Flory, you want to add something?
Sorry, Flory, trying to say something, but not possible.
Okay.
Make your questions in the chat window as well, and that would be useful too.
Yeah, let's keep unmuted. Maybe he can add something later on.
Okay, if anybody else would like to raise a question, this is the time for you to do it.
There's a question there. Mikako has a question. It would be good to hear Mikako's question.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'm muted.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Could you hear me? Could you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have, in fact, two questions. One is already sent to Alexander. This is about the benefit provision because, in fact, it is quite difficult to provide a tangible benefit in a very short term to the community, and this would be the kind of barrier to maintain their motivation for conservation. In your pilot case, how could you provide that kind of benefit? Because you show in the lessons learned page that the benefit provision is very important. So I'd like to know what kind of benefit you could show or promise or in fact provide to the community in this particular community. Second question is about the participation of the, how can I say, female people, because quite often, well, there are some kind of research about the, how can I say, the main role is in communities, in fact, are played by women, but quite often women are not in the position to participate in that kind of workshop. So how could you ensure or secure the participation of those who are actually working for the forest in the case of management, or sometimes good forest dependent earnings? So I'd like to know these two particular points from your pilot project.
Yeah, in terms of benefits for the communities, yes, obviously it's very important, and we do need to explain to the communities the benefits longer term they will get, or provide them short term benefits. And in our case, again, this community is benefiting from bonobo conservation project there. WWF is helping, but also consider themselves an important contribution from us, being trained in monitoring of forest cover, monitor of results of our interventions. They're trained on this, and they consider it as a clear benefit for them. Want to add something on this?
Especially in this area of benefit provision, and what most of people are looking for a job, like the guys that work in our base at Bamboo came from village, and all some trackers that are working on other projects like the bonobo conservation, the bonobo habituation. So beyond that, we need also to focus on any alternative activities to find protein, like fish farming activities. We provide through other projects like the Pigbu project, and so the Carpe activities, and also the World Bank activities coming from those projects. So have to make sure that you have other activities that you can give the opportunity to community to earn some money. As they live there, they are so poor. And if you come with some extra activities, then you will be in trouble on working with them to respect what's supposed to be done so that they can keep the forest the way it is.
Yeah. Thank you, Flory. Just to add that I think the future land use for the community in a sustainable way, where they can even expand some of their agricultural activities to a bigger income production. It's important, and if you do it in a sustainable way with them, they would appreciate it as a benefit. And on the second part of your question regarding women involvement, Liza wants really to say.
Well, I'm just glad for the question because, it's a woman, obviously. It's always a big question when you're working with communities, and it depends from community to community, how easily the women are able to participate or not. In this case, actually, it was extremely easy. The women, came actually a little bit late. They've been working in the fields, but the workshop waited for them to come and participate. They were actually vocal, and they weren't afraid to, give their thoughts and, participate in the participatory exercises that we did. And so in this particular case, it wasn't a problem at all, and we paid very specific attention that the women as a group should be given, should be able to provide their vision, should be able to provide their aspirations for the future. As happened, when the women's vision, the men's vision, and the youth's vision, maybe there were a few, priority changes, swaps about, but basically they all pretty much wanted the same thing. It's very basic, basic things. When you're in a community where women are either not allowed to participate or you can see that they're not participating easily, then that would be the case where you go and sit. A woman yourself, it's much easier. You go and sit with the women and see if you can just, get their inputs in a more informal way into the process.
Yeah, I can add something. Before working with those communities, with one of our staff who normally goes around and make sure that women are really involved on the discussion, because they have some kind of traditional rules in some area that ladies doesn't have the opportunity to talk when they're having a meeting. So we have to make sure that we talk with all the local authorities so that then make sure that ladies and women are participating on those meetings, because they are the first who normally they do have a lot of work to do to take care of the family, but to make sure that you exchange very well with the local authorities to allow ladies to participate. Sometimes we have to work with them as a group, but in this case we have the opportunity to have all of them in the same place, to share with them so that they can respond on what was requested. So you have to be careful. Wherever you go, you have to make sure that know all the traditional rules with the committee, if they allow ladies to have a meeting with men or not. And you can do that to have all of them and to share all this information. Because when in African, in this area, most ladies are the one who really use the forest. So they have to be involved in the meeting, but you have to get some kind of way of making them involved in the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Flory. Maria? Maria Celine had a question or raised her hand before. If she's still
Muted right now. I heard her.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I have this question by Celine that it's about the importance of the clear benefits of integrated communities. What are these benefits concretely? Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Thank you. I've been unmuted, but I think my question was very similar to Mikako's question, and I think you have already the response that is fine with me. So thank you very much.
Silent.
Any questions?
Any questions? No.
I'll just make another point on benefits while people are thinking perhaps of another question. I think, Selina and Makiko, that the different types of benefits we're talking about here, there's a benefit, specific bit from whatever intervention you do with the community. So the time that you spend with the community, I mean, what is the benefit to the community from that? And there are other benefits of, okay, the bigger question of, okay, you save the forest as you're cutting it down and getting some immediate financial benefits. What are the benefits to that? I think that there are different layers of benefits, and we need to be clear about those benefits at all these different levels. In terms of, when we took up, days of these people's time, really wanted to do was to have a workshop that would really benefit to the communities. So to basically to provide them, to let them think up a management plan for their village that they can track progress on over time, that they also can, hold to ref a little bit and partners accountable to, in terms of, okay, so over time there are no more jobs being created, we're not getting trained in terms of vulnerable pizza or whatever. So it really, the exercise was supposed to be a benefit for them, and I think that, pulling their own ideas together into one place was really, quite helpful for them. And the bigger question is, what about the benefits from, preserving the forests as they are? Now, as we say in this particular case, they preserve the forest. We have very similar goals with the community, very similar aspirations. The vulnerables actually are considered ancestors. I mean, they want to protect their habitat, but they want to see numbers certainly not decreasing, etc., etc. So in this particular case, we were pretty much hand in hand. In other cases, I can imagine that would be very difficult, and that's when the benefit from preserving the forest have to outweigh the benefits of not. So those are the benefits that are really tricky to deal with.
And long-term benefits. Thank you, Lisa. Any options?
Okay, people, everything is very clear, Sasha. So people don't have any questions. Well, I think we can finish this webinar, and thank you especially to Alexander, Lisa, and Flory that shared with us their experience in this community. And hopefully you're going in other webinars. Just for clarification, all these sessions will be recorded, is being recorded, and will be available in the Forest and Climate Initiative Google, and I will send the link to all of you that have participated in this call. So from here, and I hope that you have enjoyed and learned something new today.
And for organizing it, and just to let everybody know what I will also ask send you the presentation because it has the links to the website if you're interested.
Thank you.
Bye.